I would make my answer in two points, because the way the success can influence the writing, I think in my case it's not about the process, because that never really changed, but maybe more about the topics. What I mean is I've always been writing the way I write before the success, and I still do the same. And I think what is very easy with books, and maybe it's not the same with music, for instance, where you're a musician, you perform in front of people. As books, you write your book alone, and so I write in Geneva, and I'm alone, and I never share my work before the book is finished. And then it's finished, and then I show it to my friends, publisher, whatever. That the book is published, in France first, and then in foreign countries. So what I mean is, there's so many times, so many months, sometimes year, between the moment I finish the book and the moment where the book is read, that for me, this time is very relieving, because it makes me back thinking about the project, and I'm in my new project and not in the success anymore. So what I'm trying to say is, it's very easy being an author to forget the success, because when I promote the book that I already wrote a couple of months or a year ago, I'm already in the train of thought of a new story, and the success doesn't really help, or doesn't help. It's just so different. You're disconnected. A bit like an actor that need to perform a character, and then he's promoting the movie, but he's training for the next movie, so he's already in another story. So I would say it's this part of the success, it's not a problem at all. When I said before, the second point was more about the topics, and I feel that's my feeling, that when I was writing stories that were not read, I had the tendency to try to write the same story again and again, even if the subject was different, or the story was not really the same. I was in the topics doing the same and the same and the same. As now, as the books, and I'm very pleased of that. A lot of people read the books and the stories. I would say that success influenced my writing and the story, in the sense where I'm trying to do something different, because now I need to show something different, pick a different thing, and try to make things different. I think the mystery is something important for grabbing the readers and getting them to get into the story. And it's not artificial. It's not like making a mystery to make a mystery. It's more about how can I hook the people and carry the people with me to get them to my story. And it's something that we all do. I would say that when you have something to say, and when you go to a crowd because you need to say something, or easier, when you go to a place where you meet your friends in a place, everybody's having dinner, and you join them, and you're late because something happened to you, and you want to tell them what happened to you. The first thing that you will do, like being there and being to the rest of the place where they are, you're not going to tell your story. You're going to say, guys, listen to me. You're going to try to catch their attention, because you want their attention to be able to them to hear the story, because you think it's important for them to be focused on the story. So that's something we all do. When we want to tell a story, the first thing we do is not to tell the story. It's to put the people that are around us in a good condition to be listening to the story. We don't want them to be on the phone. We don't want them to be talking to other people. We want them to be with us and to hook them with us, because we think it's important. So I think the mystery is not only something that we use in books, but that we use all day long with people. People are the way they are, and they are built the way they are because of the past. And for me, getting a lot back in the past in the stories, it's not an artificial way to do flashbacks or whatever. It's really, for me, the fact that today can only exist because there's a past. I'm coming back to the Feria del Libro because I've been here many times, so I'm building a story with this fair that's very nice, with the readers that are coming back. So for me, that's an example to say that for me, today exists because I've been here before. And for a book, for a character, or for life, for someone that will tell his life, it's exactly the same. Someone that you will meet in a bar will be crying, for instance, or will be sad or happy, and you will question his feelings, and he will say, oh, because that happened to me, and we will go back to the past. And we are today the sum of all the action, of the regrets, of the thing we're proud of, or the things that happened to us, that build the little body that we live in. And I think that's, for me, that's the two things that make one character existing, and trying to explain to the readers that to know someone, to get to know someone in a book or in a real life, you need to know his past and you need to know his demons as well. Well, it's always difficult for me to talk about my next book because I don't have a plan. So I'm not sure what I write about, and I'm not sure what is going to happen in the story because I don't have already a plan that's okay, this is the beginning, this is the middle, this is the end of the book, and I just follow it. I don't have that. So it's every day for me, I discover the book. And I think that I write because I'm a reader first, and because I love to read. One day I was like, but I would like to be able to write also. But the feeling that I have as a writer, for me, it's the exact same that I have as a reader. I want to know what is going to happen next. As a kid, as a little boy, I remember my parents telling me the stories of Roald Dahl and D. King Smith as well, two English authors that for me were amazing because I was fascinated by the storytelling, telling the stories. And I think that's for me two great authors. And Roald Dahl, especially till today, as an adult, if you're having a bad day and you read like some of the Roald Dahl's book, it makes you feel better. So I think that's a very important author for me. And I think that we have a tendency to forget how important children's books are, even for adults. I think that the very basic of the literature for people in general, it's not Tolstoy or Gorky or whatever, it's the children's book because that's where it started. As a teenager, when I was 15, I started to read Ken Follett's, all his spies book, and the very first one, the title in French is L'Art Malheur. I was so amazed by the plot, by the thrilling side of the books that I was like, oh, I want to do the same. And I've read all the Ken Follett's within like maybe 2 years. And at that moment, I was maybe like 16, 17, I started trying to write novels. And that's how I realized how difficult it was to write books. There's one author I go back all the time, it's Albert Cohen. He was a Swiss author that wrote beautiful books, and he's the only one that I keep reading again and again, the only author. But there are some authors that I go back that I read when I was at school, for instance. I recently reread The Trial of Kafka. I think it's in English, it's The Trial, Das Prozess, yeah. And I had read this book when I was a teenager at school, when I was 15 or 16 probably, and I read it, and I reread this book a couple of months ago. And all of a sudden, it took a new dimension for me because, for instance, I realized how accurate this book is, how it fits to these days, to the world we do live in. So I think that I would like, from this experience, I would like to go back to some of the classics that I read when I was at school and I had to read it, and I would like to try them again in the light of me being an adult now and trying to see differently the stories.